Flavor of Love 3. Let me request this girl. Hope it's working well. Hope it's working. Everyone, give a big welcome to Miss Hotlanta
What's
from Flavor of Love
up?
3. What's up, girl?
What's
Oh my
up?
God.
What's happening?
It's great to actually finally meet you.
Yeah,
Um,
same here.
Welcome to another episode of my podcast. This is Let's Talk Reality, and the mostly how I mostly do my interviews, because I make sure that make them feel welcome and make sure it's not like a serious thing. I'm just making sure if you're like talking to a homeboy, a homegirl, and all that shit.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm down.
So yeah, in case you did not know, I did interview Candy, aka Junk from Real Tinted Love season 2. And
Okay.
congratulations, you're my second, our love show, like
Oh,
contestant.
well, that's what's up. Thank you for having me.
It's no problem. So we're gonna get into some certain topics. I'm gonna go down the line in certain topics on me doing my little interview thingy. So what got you to do reality TV in the first place, and what were you doing before then?
Well, it was actually kind of surreal how it happened. Prior to TV, I had been in the Atlanta music industry. I had go-go dancers. I was a go-go dancer. I did choreography for different music artists. I was working as like an A&R for different artists and different labels. And so I was doing a lot of stuff independently prior to TV. I kind of had like a local city name for myself already established. And then one of my good friends that was in the promoting and in the industry, he was like, "Hey," he sent me a message because back then this was like MySpace, that was like what was popping was MySpace.
Okay, yeah.
And I had done a photo shoot just for like my portfolio to help build my portfolio and try to give a couple photographers like exposure and stuff and kind of help get them out there too. So he said, I came across some of your portfolio pictures, and he's like, would you be interested in taking part in this casting call that we're having? It was kind of generic. It
Yeah.
wasn't like, hey, this is for Flavor of Love, or anything like that. It was just generic. And I first sent the pictures over, and then he sent me an invitation to go to this other location on a certain date. And I went down there, and it was like thousands of women, and everybody's got all these pictures. They're all like
Mm-hmm.
dolled up and stuff. And
Okay.
it was basically general questions like just basically a little bit about myself and stuff like that. And they said, well, if we're going to narrow it down to like 20, 25 or 27 in Atlanta. And back then I didn't have cable. I didn't watch any previous seasons. So it was kind of, I didn't realize what I was getting myself into, kind of. And so they said, we're going to narrow it down to like 25 people in Atlanta. And I'm looking at thousands of women around me.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, whatever. Because back then there was a lot of scams that were going on. Like they'd say, oh, you've been chosen, but it was really for them to get you to pay for like a modeling, to be part of their modeling stuff. They wanted to get money from you.
Yeah.
So a couple weeks went by, and then they're like, hey, I got a phone call, and I was actually on the stage of this place called Red Train, and I had a phone call from Cali, a Cali number. So I went in the bathroom and I checked the messages, and they were like, hey, this is so and so, and you are one of the 25 women chosen, but we've got to narrow it down. I need you to come to a second meeting, a second interview. So they sent me the details, and it was at a hotel. And I was like, oh wait, because Atlanta has like a major issue with like a lot of trafficking, I guess you could say, goes on a lot in the industry. So that's how a lot of times they kind of would get people is by,
Yeah.
them. And I'm like, hotel, okay, yeah. But I was like, what if, I told my friends, they're like, look, it's a legit company. We checked the background. It's a legit company that contacted you. Go for the second interview. So I went for the second interview, strapped.
Oh my god.
Strapped in a mini skirt. But I went for the second one because I didn't know. I was like, they're not kidnapping me. I have a family to come home to.
Yeah.
So they sat down with me and I was like, oh, excuse me, hold on a second. I'm not trying to rap you. I was just trying to make sure you guys were legit. And
Yeah.
it was legit. Now, that interview was more detailed as far as like relationship. They were getting a little bit more personal, asking about different artists. I still at that point, even up until the point, I didn't find out. And even after they chose me after that second one, I didn't know it was for Flav. I got asked questions about him. I got questions asked about Brett Michaels and a couple different other people. And I think it might have been, I don't know if it was like just different people I was asked questions about. And then like, okay, well, if you're chosen, we'll give you further instructions. So I'm still thinking like, how many people have they had come through here? Like, and I got another phone call saying that I had to get a gift. I had to bring a gift for Flav. And I also had to go get blood work done for me to be tested for any type of infectious diseases for the contract for the production company.
Yeah.
Once we get your blood work back and everything and you're good to go, you'll be catching a plane and you can be gone for up to 3 months.
Yeah, because that's what I heard about this whole entire like STD testings and all that, because I think from what happened on season 2 of Flavor of Love, this girl nicknamed Beautiful, she did had a cold sore on her lip. She did had one, but I don't know if it was during the show, like before the show, or anything like that. And yeah, a lot of the girls were like kind of like concerned and scared, for what I can
Yeah,
think of.
yeah. Well, it's a liability when you have people living in the same home. If a fight breaks out, if somebody spits on anybody, it's a liability. And production companies, I'm not sure as far as like in the previous seasons or what, but I know with my season, they covered themselves as far as that liability aspect.
Yeah, because yeah, I can see why that they started like checking people like on their STDs and stuff, because that shit was really much concerning. And who like would have gone if it was actually for Flav or for Brett Michaels? Because you did tell me that that they were asking questions for.
They were just asking like if I knew any of his songs, if I what I knew about him, and I like all different types of music. I guess I just knew more about Flav. I mean, I knew some about him, but about Brett Michaels, but I guess I was more familiar with Flav because he was always like a hype man, and that was one of the reasons why I agreed to go, because I get stage fright when I get a mic in my hand in front of people and I start shaking
Yeah.
and I can't control it. And with him, he was able, get a mic, be a hype, and get out there. So I thought that'd be pretty cool to like meet him and get kind of his aspect. But like I said, stepping into it, I really didn't know what I was getting myself into.
So what was your impression of the house itself and also the other girls in the house?
Well, it was being in LA. I'm straight up ATLian. Like all I ever knew was Atlanta. So being in Cali, just flying on a plane that far, and then being in Cali and seeing a whole different environment, seeing different trees, the air smelled different, and seeing a big city like Los Angeles, and then seeing the huge houses. Like in Atlanta, we have very small areas, or back then we had only very few areas where you could go and see like multi-million dollar homes,
Oh.
where it was tested. So out there, when we went to the house, it was like, whoa, like these are like really big homes, It was like, we called the area Buckhead back then. That's where all the big mansions were in Atlanta. It was like Buckhead everywhere. It was beautiful. It was actually really pretty. I liked being in the sun. I liked feeling the sun. The temperatures were different. Atlanta weather's like crazy. It has one day it's cold, one day it's hot. It's like I always say Atlanta weather's bipolar.
Oh my god.
It's kind of what you're gonna get. Like it fluctuates. It depends on how it feels. Like it'll snow and then be 70 degrees. Like, but so that the weather was nice. I like that. And I went out to order. I think it was a sweet tea, and they didn't know what I was talking about. I was like, you don't get sweet tea, Callie? Like,
Oh no.
um, and as far as like the girls, it was definitely a different experience. It was I'm not really, I'm just cool, laid back and humble, and if I get a vibe off of somebody that they're like toxic or shady or anything, I just remove myself. And when you're in that home, you couldn't really remove yourself like how I would have had it been in real life. Like I wouldn't have kicked it with hardly any of them outside of, you know,
Yeah.
like outside of filming.
Did you end up wanting to fight Elle for interrupting you so many times when you were having your little talk with Flav?
Say that again?
Did you wanted to fight Elle for interrupting you so many times while you're like having a conversation with Flav?
Because I didn't want to fight anybody until they got in my face, and I had to just keep telling myself, like, no, there was a lot of dramatization or whatever. Like, they want you to kind of, in the confessions, they want you kind of to emphasize on a lot of stuff to help create drama. Drama in reality TV is what sells. So that's what they wanted, but I wasn't gonna fight her. I was just like, come on now, like trying to be, but you got to think it was 25, 30, however many women, 28 women
Yeah.
just got into this house and they're after one guy, like it's like game on, it's like competition and stuff like that, and it's dog eat dog in that situation.
It really was. Those types of situations, it really was. Did you end up liking your nickname?
Originally he wanted to name me Legs. So I was so thankful. He was like, if I had to name something, and he had to name us a name. And then if we didn't like it, then we could tell him what we wanted to be named. And he would choose between his name and the name we chose.
Mm.
So he chose Legs for me. And I was like, I don't want to be known as Legs. I'm bow-legged. I hate shaving. Like,
Oh no.
no. And then, but at that time too, I had me making the decision to go out to Cali was um, a major step for me because I had to. There was a lot of changes that took place because of me doing so. So I knew when I came back, that's pretty much all I was gonna have was my name. So I wanted something that I could represent, and proudly represent versus just saying, hey, I'm Legs, look at my legs. Like, no.
Oh yeah, leg model, leg model.
Right.
Oh my god, no, I actually did like your nickname, Hotlanta. It's just like it just screams like like you're local to Atlanta, obviously, but also like because girl, you were like I don't know if you want to admit it or not, but you actually were pretty smoking. Like everyone, you were pretty smoking. I was like, damn, like okay, I
Yeah.
see you, Miss Hotlanta. Oh my God. So we're getting on to the next topic, which is topic two. Like, well, you just did it. We just answered like all the questions I asked you for topic one. So we're going to go into topic two, which is episodes two and three.
Okay.
So what was your first impression on the Fix a Heartbreak challenge? Like, that challenge that you to like make sure you get to fix Flav's like, heartbreak.
Oh, the hospital challenge.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That's what we had to buy a gift for.
Mm.
So I was glad that that was the challenge, but I did not know the prize was going to be. I would have kind of probably been like a little bit more low key. But I mean, it was, you guys watched the show and I watched it, and that's the only time I watched it. I never sat back again and sat down and watched the show ever again after watching it. So it's been a long time, you know. But I remember it was just funny. Flav was sitting there with a wig or something on, and I had my little go-go outfit, one of my go-go outfits that I used to wear, my little nurse outfit, and um, you know, so it worked out good. We had to. That was one of the things we had to bring something for the like the hospital, or I don't know, I can't remember, but I was. I'm glad he liked my gift, you know, because I put a lot of you know, I put a lot into it because I did want him to be recognized. You know, it's Flav, but it's a you know dating show or whatever, but I think the impact that he made on music, I feel like that kind of the whole show concept kind of overshadows the influence he had, you know, on hip hop.
That-
So
That's good. No, I actually did like the gift that you got for Flav. Like, it was actually like pretty adorable, and it was actually like pretty like cutesy too. So like, I was like, okay. Oh my God. I'll get to that question in a bit because someone just commented on this live right now. So let's see. So were you happy that you won the challenge?
did I wet hun?
No, were you happy that you won the challenge along with
I was until I learned what I got for winning, which was jumping out the plane. So I won the date with him, but I had no clue the date was jumping out of a plane. So that was that was that was
no, I
uh,
would be pissed. I would be pissing myself
describe that.
too.
I still feel like I can't believe I did that, but I did.
No, I would definitely would be pissing my pants too because there's this one thing we have similar in common is that you and I basically do not do heights. I would literally be pissing myself.
Yeah,
Oh my.
you think, you know, like nice restaurant, dress up, be fancy. That's what you think nice, you know, winning a date with somebody is. And then you're told, oh no, it is you ain't being fancy, you about to fly.
Oh
Like
my.
that's a whole different thing.
Oh my God. And then when Flav actually like let the shoot out like too early as well too. And like
He
it's
pulled it out so early. I'm so glad I was not strapped to him. He pulled it out and he was just like dangling, like do do do, just like
oh my God.
really sat there and sat there and sat there and like waited and waited for him to come down.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how terrifying was that though for you? It was a 10.
15. It
Oh
was
my
horrible.
no, because like when you said like I'm gonna feel like I'm about to shit myself. Oh my God, no, that you have no idea how much I relate to that. I'm like,
I started going into kind of like panic mode, and I think that's one of the things. I think that's when the production company realized, like, yeah, we might not want to mess with Hotlanta too much. But because I was worried about like you see stuff, tragic things that happen all the time, and I always watch these videos, and I'm like, well, you know, if you're swimming with sharks and you get bit, like that's you put yourself in that position, you know. Like I always look like why do these people do that? How could they jump out of a plane? Like, and then here I am, you know, here I am in that situation to do so. But I had which I can't remember if they showed, I think they might have showed like bits or pieces, but I made the production company and Flav say that if anything happened to me, that they would be financially responsible for my children for life. And had witnesses. So I went into like panic mama mode,
yeah.
you know, because I'm like not how I'm like, and I just kept praying like this is not how I'm supposed to go out. I know I'm not supposed to be doing this, but don't let this be my way of going out. You know, I was terrified. I really was.
Oh my God. So what made you think that Reina was phony though? Because on the way back, what made you think that Reina was phony?
Raina. Um, I can't really remember. I know like a lot of the girls, there was also a lot of editing. That's one of the things a lot of viewers don't understand as far as I can't speak on like all reality TV, but I know in my situation, and that's why I never watched it again because it frustrated me because there was times where I was saying something to one person, but they would clip it and make it seem like I was talking in a different situation.
Yeah.
You know, take me drinking a bottle of wine over 3 days and making it look like I just sat there and drank it all in one setting.
I
You know, it was just
think
a lot of editing that I felt like it gave viewers an unrealistic view. So it frustrated me because I lived it. I went through it, and me watching it like, that's not when that happened, and that's not when it happened. And just seeing everything else that was going on too. Like I said, I watched it one time, and now I have cut on the TV and let my daughter. I was like, just see if and she was like, "Mom, that looks like you,"
oh
you know. But
no.
sitting down like watching it, no, I did it. I did it when it aired, and that was absolutely it for me. That was enough.
Yeah, because like, let me try to refresh your memory a little bit. Is because on the way back from the day, so ICE in Miami, we're talking about, Reina and saying that, oh, like for like on for TV, like no, for the camera purposes, like she will act up, and then like when she's off camera, like the camera's not on her, like she just acts like just like normal and
That
quiet.
a lot of that was I saw with a lot of the females. Like I get it because it's almost like when in that situation you're put in, as to play like a role, like to act for a movie. You're putting you're stepping in that role, you know. But too, there was a lot like some people would try to be like all hardcore and stuff, and like what you see with me is what you get, like with my versus the editing, but there's there was a lot of the females that the cameras were rolling and they're a different person. When the
Yeah.
cameras were out, it's like they were trying to be like the center of attention. They wanted to be the one getting all the views or
All the camera
whatever.
time. Yeah.
Camera time.
No, I can see.
Yeah.
No, it's because like for Reina, it's just much more the fact that she was like, trying to create a problem in the house, saying that like, oh, did someone like stole my perfume and like whatever. And then basically she was talking to, I forgot one of the girls' names, but she was like a thicker girl. Um Basically she was saying like, telling her like, oh, like no one stole my perfume. I just want to do it to see like, if I can get people like, in their minds.
And there was like all the drama and stuff that people see, that stuff is real.
Yeah.
The clash of personalities, that stuff is real. But there was a lot that I later learned with some of the other girls after airing and after it was all done and over with, that I learned that there was times where production would kind of step in and try to create situations. I really didn't have a problem with Raina that I remember. I just, there's you got different people from different backgrounds, different upbringings. You've got a bunch of women in a house. You're gonna get that clash of personalities. But
Mm.
there was several of the females in there that it was like they'd be cool with you, then the cameras were rolling, they'd go back and come back and you're beefing, like, for what? You were just cool with me. Oh, but now since you're not cool with me for no reason, I'm not gonna be cool with you no more. I might keep you where I can see you, but I'm not gonna be your friend. I'm not gonna trust you.
No, absolutely. Like it's best, like, just to separate yourself. Like I can see from a distance, but do not come that close to me right now.
Right.
Oh my
Right.
God. So what were your thoughts on the restaurant challenge?
The restaurant challenge. I can't remember.
So
I
basically you're like, so okay, let me try to refresh your memory a little bit because you have seen your show once. So basically you've been split into two groups and you're supposed to like,
oh,
make this restaurant.
I got so frustrated during that challenge. I had great ideas, but nobody would listen. And it's like I just got to the point where I was like, just y'all do whatever. I'm not arguing about it. Like, I cook. I like to cook, and there was I remember it was very,
Chaotic.
nobody would listen.
It was
It
very
was very
chaotic.
chaotic. And
Did
yeah.
you regret actually like having Raina as the manager because she was the manager for your guys' group, if I remember.
Yeah, it was like she wanted to do things her way, and it was like when it's a group, you're supposed to like group effort, team effort. There's no I in team,
Yeah.
but it's like at the same time when you have dominant personalities that, and that's
Mhm.
just even and like not just with the people in the house. When you have dominant personalities and they're right, nothing you can do or nothing you can say. Some people you just got to pick and choose your battles, and at that point, when you're outnumbered and stuff, it leaves you to where just let them do whatever.
Oh my God, did you think that Raina was on a power trip though? And also, did you think she cost you guys a chance for not picking the reindeer as a prop because Flav did say he loves reindeer.
Yes, I think yeah, not choosing the reindeer was like, yeah, I think that cost us. But at the same time, it was like there was so many power trips. It's like there's so many power trips when you've got people trying to go after the same thing. And a lot of times people don't want to work in a team or they feel like, oh, they don't want to listen. So I just let them do whatever. It was just, there wasn't really much that I could do or say.
Yeah, no, I understand completely because, like you did say, like you guys were in a group of like really big, strong personalities, and of course, people's heads are going to clash together. And yeah, they will have obviously have different opinions. So, but at that point, they need to put their pride aside and actually start to work together at the time. So they need to get it together. Like you're trying to
Right,
win the heart of a man.
right.
So we're gonna get into the next topic, which is topic 3, which is episodes 4 and 5. So, what were your thoughts on the roast challenge?
Oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting. Now, I really thought that the place that we went to, the improv where everything was done, I thought that was really cool to see that because we would see the same place like on TV. You'd see it. That's where they hosted a lot of the comedy shows in Hollywood. So I thought that was really cool to be in that environment. But I wasn't prepared. I don't, there in Atlanta we have very few comedy spots, and I've learned like with walking into a comedy spot, they're gonna pick on somebody and they're gonna so every time I would go to the comedy spot, I would kind of like sit off in the back and be, like ducked off. Just I never wanted to be the person that they called out, like called out. And then when it was me that got chosen, I was like, why? Out of everybody, like why y'all gotta roast me for, I mean, what I do, like I didn't do nothing. So it was kind of like it was hard for me to even come up with stuff like to keep it clean, but to come up with something that could be like, dogging somebody out. And that's all I could think of was back in the day when I played softball, we did this chant and this cheer, and it was
Yeah,
NLPO, you look like you need Alpo, and we bark at the other team. And that was the only thing that could come to my mind because I'm not good. I don't like bringing that type of energy to somebody. Just sit there and just roast them and talk crap, talk junk about them. I
yeah,
don't like I don't like bringing that negative to somebody. I don't like saying hurtful things to people. So it was kind of hard for me to put myself in that position to where I had to actually like talk about somebody in a negative way. So and I felt like it was really cruel too. There was a lot though in that scene that was edited out. There was a lot that was dramatized, I guess you could say, but there was also a lot that was edited out.
I'm gonna ask you this question, but you can choose to answer this one if you want to. But do you think the girls were out of pocket when they were talking about that you might have like the big H on your lip?
I mean, that's what, people, that's really all they could go after, And what was crazy was that we all had to take the same test to get there and that we were screened for the big H.
Hmm.
Um, so that was kind of like, wow, why are you guys, even going along with this? But at the same time, like, it's like when somebody find something out about you and that's the only thing that they can talk junk about, like that's all they had on me. Like they couldn't say anything else about me. They couldn't say I wasn't cool. They couldn't say I wasn't sweet. They couldn't say I wasn't, anything. That's all they had on me. So I kind of knew, but at the same time, like when I get mad and I want to, like when I get mad, I kind of like get almost like teary eyed, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
a lot of people take it as if it was my feelings getting hurt when really it wasn't my feelings were getting hurt. I had to keep telling myself, like, watch your reaction to all this because I was ready to like nuck and buck. But I had to keep telling myself like people are going to see this. My children are going to watch this. I had to keep telling myself certain things like, and that was part of the rules. That was you're not supposed to get into a fight. We weren't
Ugh.
supposed to have an altercation. So, but it's like, a lot of people, I mean, you get that with females. I've gotten that my whole life being in the industry. It's like I've gotten that a lot, even just growing up, where you just got people that will talk about you for no reason. So I've learned over the years, how to just like kind of ignore people like that, ignore the ignorance. But it did like, I was like, wow, like people can be really cruel, and really like harsh, um, and say things that aren't facts, about somebody.
Yeah, no, I understand completely. No, it's just like I felt like that they were literally were out of pocket, like very, very out of pocket when they were like saying that, like, at
Yeah.
the roast challenge that, that you had like the big H on your lip. I was like,
Yeah,
okay, like it could mean a
they
different
were,
things.
that was out of pocket, and a few times they had mentioned and talked junk about me as a mother and had put my kids in their mouth, which that's like to me that's a place you don't go.
I would
I
have
don't care
definitely
for
would have gone home. I would definitely would have gone home.
that turned me into mama bear, and I'm not going to care nothing about Hotlanta. You don't want to meet the mama bear.
Yeah. No, I would definitely would have gone home too if like, if someone was talking crap about my kid and I'm on the show and they're using my kid's like name in their mouth, I would definitely would have started like throwing hands. But, it's pretty interesting on how much reality TV has evolved because I did watch you guys, I think in my junior year of high school. But I'm like very young. I'm 22. I'm about to turn 23, but I have watched
Baby.
yeah. Yeah, I loved it. But I did start watching like the whole VH1 like, era, the whole VH1 dating show era, in my junior year of high school, and I was like very intrigued by it, and I became like a new fan, a new viewer to like the whole era of that. But rest in peace to that era though, because
It started really reality TV, and that's something like I didn't know that going like I said going into it. I didn't realize how big the show even was, and even when I told some of my friends, I'm like, I got casted for some show on VH1, and I have to bring something for Flav, and they're like, girl, you're going on Flavor of Love, do you not know? And I'm like, I was just like kind of, I want LA and meet him and just be like, okay, I didn't realize that I was going to be taking part in that movement of, reality TV's jumpstart. So
yeah. No, because so going into the like on topic part, um no, when they literally brought in like the doctor to check your lip and then like like read the results at the elimination, I was like, y'all, what, like I thought y'all had like tests done for this, and like yet like
we did. And that's why I consented to it. But it was like, it was the fact, and he really pricked me. And the thing is that it wasn't even on my lip. I'm not one that wears a lot of makeup. My
mhm.
everyday life, like, there's only a few times out the month if I'm filming, if I'm like dressing up to go somewhere, or if I'm, where I'm going to have pictures taken. But my everyday life, out the door, I don't put no makeup on. So me stepping into, and I've always been like that. So me stepping into, um, out there where I'm having, it was MAC makeup, it was thick, for filming. My skin's sensitive, you know? So I had a pimple. I was like, yeah, 30 years old, I still get pimples. Who don't? But if like people really like paid attention, it wasn't even on my lip, it was above my lip. So I was even more frustrated about that because I was like, okay, y'all, look, you know, it's not even on there. But that gave views, that gave suspense. It was drama. I went a whole week where they're like, and Hotlanta has a mild case of, and then they cut it off. And then people had to wait the whole week. I had a whole week where I'd go to the grocery store and people would be like looking at me like, oh, that's, you know, and like all different kinds of stuff, radio interviews, talking, all these people, like a bump that wasn't even on my lip was like the topic of the world, it felt like, for a whole week. And then when it came back and they're like, oh, she has a mild case of acne, that's why I was like, you know, excuse my language, but no shit, you know, like you guys knew that. But I had to put myself in that sense of it created a lot of views. It
Mm.
created a lot of people coming back. And that's what TV is about, is getting those views, having the production, bring people back the next week. If it's boring, you're not going to care. You're not going to want to know. And I just happened to be with a couple situations like that topic every week for some reason.
Oh
So
no. No, that I felt really bad for you because they really went in on you, girl. They really went in on you. And then you were just basically just being like,
yeah,
you were just being just not problematic at whatsoever, but they just chose to pick on you. And I'm like,
yeah.
no, that's why I really liked you on your season.
I mean, I had to have my blood work drawn before. It wasn't, you
Yeah.
know, so like I knew the process that I had already gone through. Um, so, but like I said, it was like it did, them doing it to me did what it needed to do for them. They could have cared less what it did to me. You know, that's TV.
Yeah. So basically, do you think that Shy's breath was really that bad?
Well, the crazy thing is, and this is also something that wasn't shown. I've been in dentistry now about 26 years. Um, so I know if something's going on, I can do everything a dentist does,
Yeah.
you know, but I've been in it for so long, and a lot of times there is it's a gum disease that's called periodontal disease, and it happens just over time. You can get it at any age. It doesn't matter. Sometimes it's genetically, sometimes or hereditary. It can be all different factors. It could be medications that people are on that causes it, and there is an odor. It's the same thing like if you've ever like smelled somebody's breath and it smells like feces. That's actually sometimes a sign of people who have blocked colons, where it is actually feces and it's coming back up through their breath. So, oral health has a lot to do with one's physical health. And the way that it happened was Shy. I had already talked to her without the cameras going on and had talked to her about it because it was, you know, but it's also treatable. You know, all it takes, you need to go, you need to get a deep cleaning, and you need to stay on regular regimens of, you know, cleanings. But I had spoke to her off camera, and I had actually contacted one of the dentists that I knew and asked him like, hey, you know, if she's in Atlanta, could we you know, would you be able to do a deep cleaning for her? And he was like, sure, just let me know. Like I had reached out to a dentist friend of mine
Yeah.
that was going to have her come to the office free of charge and have, um, you know, the treatment that she needed. So they didn't show that part, you know, on the cameras. There was a lot they didn't show. I actually won a freestyle battle. We had a rap battle and I won it, and they didn't air it. You know, yes. Oh, I put on for my city, but they didn't even show it. I'm like,
No,
that's
that's
why
what sucks.
out of the show airing, that's the only thing that I really looked forward to seeing was everybody be like, yeah, Atlanta held it down and won the rap battle. And they didn't air it. Like,
No.
yeah.
No, because I was gonna ask you if there was any stuff like behind the scenes that you wish they could have been aired on your season of Flavor of Love,
Oh, yeah, there
and I guess
was a lot. there was a lot that I wish they would have aired. Not just with me. I think it would have. There was a lot of things that took place with some of the other females that it was like they did show some of it, but they didn't show the extent of it, you know.
Yeah.
With me, I wish they would have shown me. It was a freestyle. It wasn't a rap battle. It was a freestyle. And I can never remember anything. And I remembered the words and they rhymed. I was so proud of myself. I was like, yes. And then they didn't
Oh,
show it at all. They didn't even show episodes of it. Nothing. Not one episode of anybody doing the freestyle battle.
no, they were really shady for that. But at the same time, like, you know, they're here to create drama, like make it like your season entertaining. So I
Right.
understand completely. Oh my God. So do you think that Shy was like, you know, putting a front for the camera, like a huge front because you already know how the fact that she is so extra, especially when the day that she walked in through that door. Do you think that she was like really putting a huge front for the camera?
I didn't understand it while I was living the experience, but then when I came home and I learned more about the previous episodes, the previous seasons, I saw like New York and how she acted, and then as I watched that, you know, bits and pieces. I never sat and watched like the whole season, but I would see bits and pieces because I kind of got dragged into it. I was starting getting tagged on Flavor of Love stuff all the time, so I would watch stuff. But it made more sense to me because, you know, New York, she was loud, she was obnoxious, she was, you know, a lot of, you know, any and everything drama, whatever. And she ended up branching off and doing her own thing. So I think that might have been possibly an influence to Shy because a lot of times she wasn't that like that loud and obnoxious, you know. I think she was from New York too, so a
I
lot of
heard
times like
that she's
I'm in
from Chicago.
or Chicago, yeah, she was somewhere up north. So it's like you got down South Georgia girl versus, you know,
Yeah,
it's
because
gonna be a little different for
no, yeah, no, y'all big cities, like you gotta try to find a way to represent and shit, and but also like if it's one city versus the other, like you already know it's gonna be like a whole ass war, like on how much you represent. Um, so let's see. Were you scared that you're gonna be potentially be eliminated on like potentially be eliminated for, you know, basically like having like
oh,
allegedly having
there
like
was a
the big
time.
H?
Yeah, there was a few times. There's a few times, but towards the end, I was ready to go home. I had not been away from my children ever for a period of time. And I was getting homesick. I was missing my kids. We were on different time zones. We could only use the phones during certain times.
Yeah.
So I felt like, you know, I started missing my family. So once you got to realize I had went through jumping out the plane, the whole Big H thing. Um, that then I had to do a challenge where I had to eat like all this weird stuff.
We'll get to that. I'll get to those questions in
So
a bit.
at that time, and then I think it was like the wedding challenge where I kind of just had my pretty much I had got to the point where I really didn't care if he chose me or not. At this point, like, because at this point I didn't want him. I really didn't want to like continue to even try to win.
Hmm.
Um, because I didn't when my patience started running thin and I was homesick. It was like you can send me home at this point. I really don't care. And I think and I told him that. That was one of the things that I wish they would have. I think they might have shown a piece of it, but they didn't show it on. I don't know. I remember they showed it, but they only showed like a clip of it where I told him, I'm like, this isn't about like he didn't defend me as a mother, and it's like to me, like not just in my situation being that I'm in that role of playing that, but in real life, I wanted the ladies to understand like you have to have a partner if this is supposed to be my partner for the rest of my life. If another female, they can talk all the wine, they can call names, they can, all these names you can call me. But when they started coming at me as a mother and trying to like go after my character as a mother, that changed the ball game. And to me, Flav should have stood up for me. And the fact that he didn't stand up for me, I was like, yeah, no, I don't even want a guy like that. Like, you know.
Yeah, no, I understand completely. So, what were your thoughts on the story, like the storytelling challenge?
I don't remember very much of it. I remember me and Bunch trying to get me into the mermaid outfit. And they had me like swim on, they were like, you have to swim on the floor. And I was like, I have to flop around on the floor in a mermaid outfit. Like there was so much, I don't even remember, but that was a lot. There's, like I said, the show's not scripted, but there's a lot of times where production was like, you do this and you do that and you play this role and you play that role and kind of like
It's
not.
storytelling, basically. It's storytelling. Uh,
And I really don't remember much of it.
no, because I remember in that specific episode, in that specific challenge too, is that they did Bun so dirty.
I love Buns. Yeah, Buns. Me and Buns are still friends to this day. But she, I didn't like that either. They go after her, but that's how it is when you got haters. You're doing something
No, it's
right.
because
They go after the ones because Flavor really liked Buns. He really liked Buns a lot, and he was cool with me. Like he didn't have no problems with me. He was like, "Helena's cool."
yeah,
So I think the ones that he like kind of felt like were cool, like those were seemed to be like the threat, the ones that were a threat,
yeah,
and the females that he kind of went after. They just I think thought that me and Buns were kind of maybe like a little like for the okie doke, and we weren't. Buns is like I think I don't know. She's Texas or something. She's feisty and she can cook really good. But like with me, like I'm an ATLian. Like play with it if you want
girl.
to.
Because no, I should know because I live by Portland, Oregon, and Portland is like a really crazy ass city. I can say that it really is. So like I know for a fact that like I can be a little crazy too.
Yeah,
But
I haven't been to Portland, but I would love to go there. That's on my list.
Portland, I like it's really cool and chill. It's just like, the weather can be a little bit bipolar too.
Hmm.
Because at one point it'll be raining and at one point it'll be sunny while raining. And then yeah, it's so unpredictable. The weather is so unpredictable depending on certain seasons. But yeah, that's like how it is, like the life here in Portland. But you should come visit sometime, like, and we can possibly get a drink or two.
Yeah, I'm doing some business. I'm in the process of finalizing a deal with this company out in LA. So I'm gonna be going to the West Coast a little more frequently than what I have been. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna ask you for like on the previous topic. I was like gonna ask you, were you really sad that Ice had to go home?
Ice was cool, man. That was like she was cool. Like Ice, Buns, and probably Gravy. We could hang out like outside of the show. Like, they were all like who I would vibe with in real life, the type of energy I would keep, have around me in real life. Ice, we're still friends, to this day too. I just felt like it was like kind of like I didn't want her to go home. And I felt like it was kind of like they were targeting, like I just didn't feel like a lot of that stuff was fair.
Yeah, because I remember that I did see her interview with Lacey because I was subscribed. I actually am subscribed to Storm TV, and I did see her interview, and I did not know this girl was from Portland too. Well, she is living in Portland now at the time, but I think she moved to Las Vegas. But
Yeah.
and there were amount of times like I wish I would have seen this girl if I seen her outside. But like, because I liked Ice too, because she was chill and cool, and I even liked her on
She's
I Love Money.
humble and just, yeah, she's real humble and laid back. She's goofy. She makes you laugh. But yeah,
Yeah.
I love Lacey too. I love Lacey too. I did it. Yeah, I interviewed with her too. She's cool
No,
people.
I love Lacey. She is like very funny. She, oh my God, when I watched her on Rock of Love, like, because I was going through my journey of like going, watching different shows from the I Love era. And no, Lacey Lily cracked me the fuck up. And I was fucking laughing like crazy, especially with her antics too. I'm like, damn, I kind of wish I did see her season of I Love Money because she was on that season that did not get aired. So I
Um,
was like,
I didn't watch any of them. I turned down the contracts for them, so
damn,
I
no,
didn't.
I kind of wish you did do I Love Money though, because like,
I,
um,
Charm school, all that stuff I turned down. The I Love Money's the charm stuff, and I turned all that down because of the editing. And I wasn't going to give them another chance to kind of just feel like they could just do anything with me that they wanted to do, as far as like with the editing. So, um, I
um,
never watched any of them, but I know Ice is tough, and she's
she's very competitive. She made it further actually on
yeah,
season
she's
two. Because I also heard that the twins was also going to be in that season. Oh, the one that Miami and Ice were on. But I guess they didn't end up going, or they probably turned down the contract or something.
yeah. I don't know. I just I wasn't gonna sign my name again for multiple reasons. Just you live and you learn. So I didn't watch them either.
Yeah.
Either.
Oh my God, no, because there were really a lot of y'all flavor love girls in that season. I think you had they had like Safari, Becky, Laylene from the first season, and of course let's not forget Miami and Ice. Like they were the only five flavor love girls that were on that season. I wouldn't mind seeing you on there, but knowing the fact that how much they did you so dirty, it was much more of like you were probably not going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And who knows, you probably would have won like that, like $150,000.
I'm real competitive too. I think if I were to do I think like those shows like Survivor and Left in the Wild and stuff like that, like I'm country at heart. I'm Hotlanta, but I'm really like country. And I feel like I would probably do really good at like something like that. I feel like that's like something I would win.
no,
I could live in the wild and
no, absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. Were you happy that you were in the group with Seasons and Sincere?
Seasons I was cool with once everything like I sit back and I observe and I watch people and one of the things I've always learned like if people will talk about other people to you, they'll talk about other people about you to other people. So that was one of the things that I kind of just observed a lot where I'm yeah, I'll be cool with you, deuces, hey, what's up? Um, I didn't have anything bad now. Sincere, I think if we would have been like not filming and I could be Hotlanta, it would have been on and popping just because of her mouth and how comfortable she felt. And now I look back, I mean, that's been like almost a decade ago. I really hope because a lot of times there's so much, when you have so much anger on your heart and spirit for some reason, like that's not, you don't want to see nobody. I don't even want to see my worst enemy feel like they have to treat people and say stuff. And that was one of the things that like I really learned. Like you got really some females like you got people, but in my situation it was like, man, some of these females are really, they got like wicked mindsets. They are really like I felt like I just needed to stay away. Oh, I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Wait. Okay, that's better. No, no,
I,
no
I
volume.
muted myself. No, I muted myself for a minute.
Okay, there we go. I can hear
I
you.
muted myself for like a moment. No, sorry, it was my headphones. They were getting in my way. Um, no, my opinion about Sincere though is that it's just she was trying to be like the next New York from from the last two seasons, and yes, she like is probably a little bit good for TV, but it's just like her execution. It was not cute. It was really not cute.
It was really there's a lot of stuff that also was said without cameras going that yeah, like mm-mm. I just you got some people that just need like healing on their hearts. Something deep down, like you can't be that mad and angry at people for no reason. Like you don't have no reason to say something that cruel to somebody. And it wasn't even directed towards me, but there was a lot that was said that it's like, yeah, that chick's crazy.
No, she really was. And especially that whole fight between her and Seasons was like, it was like, that's basically what made the show a little bit much more popular. I feel like that Your Guys' season was much more of an underrated season, but like a lot of like people like kind of forgot about Your Guys' season. So,
Yeah, it was too, like that was a lot of it too. I feel like it kind of got overshadowed, but there was also, I think, some contracts with the network and stuff. There was a lot of stuff going on that even us, we didn't know about, you know?
yeah. Let's see. Which story was the worst story that you ever heard from that challenge, in your opinion?
Um, which
The
challenge? The,
storytelling challenge.
oh, I don't even remember. I don't remember any of them. I don't even remember mine.
Because I,
I
no, yours was
don't.
the mermaid. That was shit was funny.
I don't. I remember one of them was like really naughty or something. I don't know. I can't even
Yes,
remember
that
who.
was the one with
Right.
Buns. Buns accidentally bent down. That's basically what I mean that they did the show.
Yeah.
And like, kids they were like the kids were saying like, I saw the witch's butt. I saw the witch's butt. And I'm
You
like,
see, now that you say it, I kind of like remember a little bit. But like I said, I watched it, never watched it again.
oh my god. So what were your thoughts on Buns getting bullied by Miami and Shy?
Buns is beautiful. She's cool. She's down to earth. She's humble. And when you got a female like that in a closed environment, Buns could dance, she had rhythm, she was cool, she could cook, like she just like me, she had haters for no reason.
Let's just say
And I felt like they were like really I think they were just like really jealous of her deep
no,
down.
because let's just say that both you and Buns, y'all got them curves, like that people wish that they had like your guys' figure like today. Um, basically, no, you both got them curves, and it was actually like pretty much. I was like, I can see why that these girls were fucking like antagonizing both of y'all because y'all got the fucking curves, and then they're just like fucking living with themselves.
Well, the thing too is that it's like a lot of times like me nor Buns would have to put on a whole bunch of makeup or feel like we have to be a certain way or show a certain thing, show our body. Like when you got women like that that naturally attract people, the
Mhm.
women that have to do so much, it's like you get that. Like even now, I get haters because I've got, it's my hair is my hair, like I'm like who argues that, but you'd be surprised. It's like I don't get on social media, and I'm like, why are you even? How does my hair being real affect your life? Like, who does that? But you'd be surprised. Drama, females, when they have drama like that and they thrive. A lot of times, negativity thrives off of negativity, and that's why when you get sometimes negative people together, they kind of join up and team up and kind of go against each other. And I noticed that with me, and I noticed that with Buns too.
No, I understand completely because no, like sometimes a lot of you females can actually be very cutthroat and they will pick out any insecurity to go against one another. So I 100% understand
Yeah.
everything. No, trust me, even I have my fair share of haters too. It's because like, a lot of the guys be a lot like they be intimidated by me. I can say that. And yeah, like I feel honored and that you guys even like, think about me to a certain
Right.
extent. No, but y'all, no, you and Buns were like so naturally beautiful. Like, I can see why, like I said, that they obviously were hating on y'all. Like y'all basically were just naturally so beautiful. I'm gonna try to charge my phone. Cause yeah, sorry about that.
Aw, thank you.
Okay, let's see. Hope
But
I
they
can.
say if you don't have haters, you're not doing something right. So
Yeah,
when that
obviously.
comes, there's a we've said it in a long time for this make your haters your motivators, and that's how you have to take people like that.
Yep. Sorry, we're back in business. Hello, technical difficulties. Oh my god. Were you starting to feel very close towards Buns? I think you did already say that while you were like, telling me that, that you love Buns.
Hmm.
So let's see.
Yeah, Buns came out to Atlanta and hung out with me once, back some years ago. She's just good people. She's got a good heart. She's got a good spirit. She's kind, and she's a good mother and, strong woman.
That's actually pretty good. So, what were your thoughts on Buns getting eliminated, though?
I felt like it was, as mothers, you have to prioritize, um, you have to prioritize things sometimes. And when you've got stuff going on, you have to have a strong support system. I was going through that as well. Um, a lot of time that was kind of taken out of context as far as with my situation. But with Buns, I mean, you got stuff at home you need to handle that comes first. Your babies and stuff comes first. So I get it.
Yeah, we just entered the next topic, which is topic 4, which is episodes 6 and 7. So, what were your thoughts on the challenge that you had to go up against the twins with that whole disgusting food challenge?
Oh my God. Well, I felt two. I think it was like they had two against one. I think, if I don't remember mistake, I can't remember, but
It was 2
I
against
just
1.
remember the food was, it was two against one. Yes, that's what I thought. And I was like, dang, you had to do the food, but I mean, you're talking about like food that I mean, I eat sushi, but I'll eat like cooked sushi. I don't like raw fish. If I was in the wild and had to eat raw fish to survive, that's totally different. But it's like all these different delicacies that were disgusting, and like I don't even eat chitlins and stuff like that. So it was just like being put in a situation where you had to eat something so gross, and it was two against one. I felt that was unfair, and I threw
Yeah,
up. It was just disgusting. I couldn't stop throwing up.
I mean, I
Yeah.
would too. I would too. Like, but for me, like, a little technique of mine, whenever I eat something like really disgusting, is that I don't breathe through my mouth. Like,
Uh-huh.
cause like if I'm eating something disgusting, like at least I will not breathe through my mouth, so I won't have to smell it or like breathe through it, like get a little whiff of like what the fuck
It
I'm
too
even tasting.
was the textures. I think that's what threw me off was the textures. It was some of the textures of the stuff. I don't even remember what it was. I didn't want to
I think
know.
was
Um,
it was brains, some type of brains. What else? I think it was
Probably
like
some type of balls too. I don't know. There was
yeah. No, I'm trying to remember too, and I even was like rewatching your season like last night too. I was like, no, this shit was wild and crazy. Like
yeah. I just
so
remember I couldn't stop throwing up, and I cannot stand throwing up. Like that's one of my worst things to do in life is puking. So it was like I just remember like, oh my gosh, I'm puking on camera, but I tried to win the challenge, and it's like if you're on like Survivor, you've got to do these challenges. You got to stick your hand in the box with a bunch of snakes. So I was in that position. I couldn't punk out. I was like I had to sit there and like and like do it, but at the same time, I'm like, of all things. And then two, I don't think everybody had to do it. I think I was chosen to do that again.
Yeah.
Or why did I keep being chosen for stuff like that? You know, I didn't understand that part.
Sorry, give me a moment. Give me a moment. Hold on.
Okay. What's up, IG? Fantasia Scott, what's up?
Oh, sorry about that. It's just no, there was screaming in my background, and I was not in the mood to be dealing with this. So that's why I had to mute myself. Oh my lord. So, what were your thoughts on Shy getting eliminated? Getting told by Flav that her breath was stink and saying that she needs to go fix that during eliminations.
He had already said that multiple times, like prior to it. So it wasn't like new to us. It wasn't like shocking to us that he had said that because they had already had that discussion. But how he did it, but at the same time, it's a lot of that stuff was done and said for viewers, for ratings and all that good stuff. But I did feel like it should have been done differently. I don't feel like, but then at the same time, I was like, well, she was really cruel to me.
Not
But
she
at
is
the same,
very
like,
serious. And I saw that you were laughing so much too when he actually said that during
yeah,
and then the bodyguard was also like was also dying too of laughter. I was like, I would have been the same thing too if I was in that same predicament, like standing over there waiting to get my clock.
um, yeah, and a lot of times too, it was like the scenes and stuff, like act shocked. And that, so you have to do, sometimes they do that with production. So it was, I felt bad for Shy. I really did. I was embarrassed for her as far as how it happened, with the elimination.
Yeah,
I felt like it should have been done differently.
no, absolutely. I mean, because like there's like no, I don't know if you ever heard about what happened with last season. Because if I did remember, there was like a girl that actually did shit on the first night, like of eliminations. So yeah, I can see like I did feel a little bit of embarrassment, towards like what basically played to Shy during eliminations, and I'm like, oh lord, it's just like here we go again. Um, Also, we're gonna get into basically the photo shoot challenge this time. I'm gonna ask you the photo shoot
Oh
challenge question. I
gosh.
wish you were in there more in that challenge because you do like look like really naturally beautiful, and you do got that.
Thank you. It was that challenge. I remember it was like we filmed it, but it was in like different parts, and it had been taken like all day. I felt like it was like all day long, and I remember just being like kind of exhausted and frustrated at the thing, and I just was like, oh my gosh. I usually in the modeling and stuff that I did prior to TV, I didn't do swimsuit or lingerie or anything like that. So it was the fact too that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in a swimsuit in front of a camera type thing. Like that was something that all the years prior in my modeling that I never did. It was always not really stuff like
You were
not swimsuit and
you were not used to like that type of
right.
you were not used
I
to
was
it,
at my
right?
comfort zone. Yeah.
But you basically rocked. I think it was probably for August that you were taking a shoot with Seasons. I guess like it was August. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
no, because you actually did rock your bathing suit though. Like, I was like, okay. I was like, okay,
Thank
no,
you.
because every
And
time,
the pool was slimy. We couldn't even get in the water because the pool was slimy.
ew,
So we're in this nice house. We can't film on the weekends. We have nothing to do. You can't leave. No TV, no phones, no music, nothing. And you have this beautiful pool, and we couldn't get in.
that is disgusting. No, but I was gonna say like. all of your other outfits from every elimination, you basically like had like you would look so elegant or like so fancy.
Uh-huh.
Like I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I remember
yes,
like
Miss
I could only bring
Hotlanta.
one suitcase for up to 3 months of being gone. So I was like trying to roll every single outfit to try to get it to fix.
Oh, I was
That
gonna
was different.
really ask
But yeah.
you. I was really gonna ask you like how long were you there for? Like while you before you got eliminated, how long were you there for? Like filming wise?
Oh my gosh, I think it was like 2.5 months. Yeah, I want to feel like it was like 2 months because like August, September, I got back in October. And the show aired in February. I was gone for almost like it was about right at 2 months. From the time I left to the time I got sent home. And there was just only a couple of days after, like prior, like we would stay in the hotels before we'd go to the house. We stayed there for like 2 days. And then afterwards, after I got eliminated, I was still, I still stayed at a hotel for a couple of days, to do like the final filming and stuff.
Yeah.
And I got to meet Paul Walker at the hotel I was staying at. That was pretty cool.
Okay. Period. We love
Yeah.
that. Oh my god. So sorry, I was trying to like refresh my stuff right now. Well, let's see. We Becky Buck Wild and Safari enter, to tell you about the challenge. Were you like happy or surprised to even see them?
I felt like it was so unfair that they had brought new people in. And then two, I didn't know who they were. I didn't know, because I had not watched the previous season. So I'm like, who are these chicks up here talking junk about? Like, they didn't know what I had already gone through. Like, I had already been through war already. I had to jump out of a plane by then. I had to do all this stuff. I had been all I had gone through war, and then you bring people in with a fresh slate, and we're already like halfway through this. Like, it didn't make sense to me. So,
So you didn't know who they were. So I'm gonna give you a little refreshment. So those two were from the previous season before yours. So they were on season two. So Safari got kicked out of the house first for hitting a girl because she got hit by flowers, and yeah, she never got a nickname. But Becky, she was much more known for basically this girl that talks ghetto and all that. So
hmm
yeah, and then that's basically what she was known for. So yeah, yeah, you just did not know anything about them at the moment because you did tell me that you did not see the previous seasons, but you did
yeah,
also tell me.
it was kind of like when they stepped in, like, who are you and why are you here and how come you got any say and who are these chicks you done brought with you? Because like I said, I had already gone through so much that it's like I felt like that wasn't fair. But then at the same time, I realized after the fact why, as far as with ratings and stuff like that, they want to create those plot twists.
Yeah. Um, what are your thoughts on seasons and Prancer taking over the whole photo shoot?
Um, Seasons has got a very dominant. She had a very dominant personality, very competitive. Um, I'm more like passive. Like I'll observe and I'll stay back until I feel like I need to speak my piece, and then it can go one of two ways. But with Season, it was kind of like I said, there's a lot of editing that took place. She's got a very dominant personality. She likes to like kind of like control.
I mean, because um, no, because they edit her like they edited her like in a weird way. But it was much more the fact that like I wish they could have included you like to their little scheme to take over the photo shoot because I did say to you that I wish that they would have involved you more on the photo shoots because because like I said you actually are a very beautiful woman and like why they should have definitely included you on it. So I know all love, all love. But yeah, but it's just much more the fact that Prancer was just talking the most absolute mess, and I was like,
Yeah.
girl, like, girl, you really named after a reindeer, like, whatever, a popular reindeer. But
Prancer, I was so ready for her to kick rocks. She was sneaky.
oh my god, I know for a fact that it was very satisfying when you saw her got kicked out.
Yeah, I was just ready. When you got like, when you know someone's shady and you know you can't trust them, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm ready for her to be gone. Because she was going back and forth. She was causing a lot of the chaos too. That's why I kind of like the one part where me and Buns were sitting there, we were playing and joking around, dancing in the mirror, and she was like, "Well, what'd you go do?" And during your time with Flav, and I was like, I was telling her that I danced for him just to see if she would go back and say something. I didn't dance for him. I didn't. But I told her that. Me and Buns, I told Buns, I was like, watch this. I'm gonna set her up. I set her up to see to find out that she was the snitch in the house, going back and forth. So I think me and Buns both told her or something. I can't remember the details, but she went back to the other side of the house to the other girls and was like, so we knew out the room, we knew it was somebody in the house that was going and snitching or like going and like playing both parts,
No, I
but
feel
we couldn't
like the
figure
girls
out who
who
it
actually did
was.
snitch. I think the I for what I can think of is that some of the girls that made be snitches, but for the people who I thought that actually I did think that there were snitches in the house, I think it was Sincere, the twins, and Shy. That because they be like in like without you knowing that like because the show was airing, like they would be telling like every girl's business to Flav just to get them kicked out. I think
Yeah.
I think when Shy was like the first, like the first like couple of
See,
episodes.
they were on the other side of the house, and then like me, Buns, and we were on the other side. So Prancer would prance back and forth, and we couldn't figure out who it was going
Yeah,
and back and seeing stuff. We couldn't, I guess they call it the mole or the rat or whatever. We didn't know who the rat was. And so that's why I even said that I didn't dance for Flav. Me and Flav went in there and I was making beats. Me and him were making beats on his keyboard, like, yeah, like what? But I didn't dance for him, but I did say that to see, and of course, a few minutes later, a couple hours later, it was, oh, I heard you, and I heard you. It was like, okay, we knew who was in the room, we knew who left, and so we eliminated that it was Prancer going back, prancing back and
yeah,
forth, playing both sides. So.
yeah. So, do you think it was the wrong move that you were venting to the twins, Shy and Sincere, about about some certain like stuff that you said, like about your I think financial situations.
What happened with that was, and that's actually, it was actually a good thing. It was a blessing in disguise. I had gotten out of, prior to me leaving and filming, I was in a relationship that I had gotten out of, but I was um, still feeling like I was maybe being watched and followed. And so I had the plans of, even before I left to go film, of quitting my job that I had had for several years and also moving.
Yeah,
And so I had issues too with that property at the time. I had a slumlord that wouldn't get things fixed, so I was letting the house go. Um, anyways, so when I left the film, it was basically they eavesdropped on a conversation that I was having, letting them know, like, they're like, oh, there's an eviction notice. That's fine. When I get back, we'll go. If they serve the eviction, they'll serve it out,
yeah,
whatever. I wasn't concerned about that because I was going to go to court and fight the guy anyways, because of stuff that wasn't being properly fixed. And I needed to move. I needed to relocate anyways. So they looked at it as if I wasn't stable, I couldn't pay my bills, and that was not the case at all. But that's how they, tried to make it seem and be like. But I had I've always supported my family. I don't have no problem paying bills and keeping a roof over my head. And that was really one of the things I felt like was the reason why I got casted, was because I felt like it wasn't necessarily the best situation for me to be. Um, I felt like I needed change in my life in order for me to get out of the stuff that I had been in.
No, I was
And that's replaced by me getting casted. So I lost my house, but I came back, got a new one. It was like the whole child support conversations and stuff like that. I shouldn't be having to tell a man to help support his child. That should be given. And like, why is there even a conversation of me having to tell somebody to take care of their responsibilities? But it is what it is.
no, I understand. Oh my God, did you expect the twins to even go run to Flav? Telling
I didn't even know that it had been gone. There was so much that was done behind my back. So it was kind of like, if somebody's talking something first and then you're hit with it, you kind of already have time to kind of prepare for it. But him not saying anything and then it not just coming out and then it just being kind of blown out of proportion. Like if somebody's going through something and you got a question about it, ask him. He could have asked me what's going on. Yeah, I'm letting this house go. I got another one lined up.
yeah, because
like
I was gonna say yeah, because like the twins were making it seem like that, like that you need like stability, like you need Flav for stability. I'm like,
and two, like I had the same job. Like I said, I had the same job, but I worked 2 and 3 jobs to support my family. I had, at that time, 3 children and no child support, and no government assistance. I was holding it down, and but at the same time, like he also has his responsibility. I wasn't looking for somebody to take care of me. First of all, I'm not moving to LA, you know. So, like, I felt an earthquake. Well, it wasn't an earthquake. It was a earth tremor when I was in LA, and I thought it was an earthquake. Boy, I flipped out. They're like, "You ain't. Where are you from?" I was like, "Atlanta." The ground shook like this outside, and I was like, "What is that?" And they're like, "Oh, that's just a tremor. That's nothing." And I was like, "Yeah, LA is not. It's the place to be to come visit, but it ain't the place for me."
yeah, because like we're mostly like basically like LA is mostly known for like their earthquakes, not just like LA is like California is mostly known for their
Yeah,
earthquakes. And I know for a
yes,
fact that y'all like Southern and like East Coasters are mostly known for like your hurricanes and shit. I'm like like we have natural disasters everywhere.
yeah, it's crazy. There's been so much changes and manipulations going on, but yeah, we had hurricanes come up through through Georgia and hit the Carolinas and stuff, which I can't think of the last, for years I haven't. There's been very few, and now it's just more frequently.
No, no, yeah, I because I heard I think a hurricane did hit Florida a couple of actually not a couple of more like months back before I can think and remember. Um, yeah, it was. I remember that it was just a little bit of like a mess going on. So
Yeah,
yeah, so shout out to y'all Florida people, helping each other out, like with the whole hurricane situation. Yeah, no, because you gotta be watching out, because that shit's like not to be fucked with.
right.
So we're gonna get into the next topic, which is topic 5, which is episodes 8 and 9, aka the last 2 episodes before your departure.
Okay.
So, do you think Sincere and the twins were doing too much to the newbies? Because the new girls started coming in because Becky and Safari brought in the new girls.
hmm Um, I felt like they did too much to begin with. When did they not do too much? It was just always something. They were arguing. If they weren't fighting with somebody else, they're fighting with each other or they're fighting with themselves. It was like, yeah, no.
Yeah, I remember the photo shoot. In the photo shoot, were you satisfied? The photo shoot challenge before I go into this topic too. Were you satisfied that Shy had to go home on the photo shoot challenge?
When she was
Yeah,
eliminated,
when she got eliminated. She got eliminated that
um,
episode.
it was just less. drama. I felt like every time one of them that was like about the drama and was kind of like after me, it's like, okay, I got one down, however many to go, like I just, that's how it was. One less one that was against me that was gone. So I was like, deuces. Yeah,
Like, you were cool, but I'm not gonna miss you.
right, right,
Oh my god.
right.
So, what were your thoughts on the newbies? I think if I can remember the nicknames, Black, Prototype, Black Tree, and I think Luscious D. Yeah, Luscious D.
Um, there was like one of the I really the ones that came there was some that came and they got sent home like immediately. So I really didn't have time to
That
like kind
was
of like kick it with them.
I think it was Luscious D that the one that you
Yeah, she
went with.
was sweet. I remember she was sweet. I just it's like dog eat dog, It's like to each his own. You have to be in that mindset, and I just felt like it was unfair that they came in so late into if they would have been brought in like the first or second day, then that's one thing. But you're talking about weeks of already going through this. That it was kind of like it made us feel like, okay, well, are you not happy with what you have, your options you have,
Yeah.
or from that aspect, but also too like, oh heck no, they come in here and we've already got this stuff established, territory, you know, yeah, it was just.
Yeah, no, because that shit was a lot. So, were you enjoying the fireworks when Sincere was like, talking shit towards the newbies, like they were arguing? Were you enjoying the fireworks?
I just the whole drama thing. I just sit there and I just would watch. Like, if you can imagine living in a strip club,
Yeah.
that's like if you ate, drank, and slept in a strip club, and you got one guy that's supposed to have some paper. That's how the energy is with the females. You get different personalities. You get all that. It was just when they would go at it, I would just laugh because y'all were just friends and now you're fighting. I think it's hilarious.
Not someone that
Um,
comes saying, "Yay, Josh is making plays." What?
it's,
anyways, anyways, I love you, Bellers. Let's see. Okay, were were you over it during the hip hopera challenge? Like, were you just basically done with the whole show, like during that challenge?
oh yeah, I was pretty much done for the last couple, like several episodes. I was ready to come home, and then it was just I'm real big on energy. Like I like to have my safe space, my peace, my happiness, like just my chill vibe. And I don't do negativity. I don't do the arguing. I don't do the cattiness. I don't do the little, all the stuff that was going on in that house. I don't do. So I was ready. It was kind of getting old,
Yeah.
at that point. Like, I was over it.
So, what made you over this show during elimination?
What made me what,
What
hun?
made you be over this show during elimination?
Um, well, I like after I got eliminated.
No, so it was on episode 8. What made you feel like that you're just done with the show, like during like the whole episode 8 situation after the hip hopper challenge?
Yeah, the that's the when we won the freestyle. I was so happy and proud of myself for winning that freestyle battle, and they never showed
That
it.
is crazy.
I'm like, man, I was so proud of myself. I was like, man, I got one for the home team. I'm bringing home this bag. I won the whole freestyle. They didn't do nothing. They didn't show it. Not even one episode, not even one clip of it. They didn't show any of it. And it was actually really good footage. I don't understand why they didn't show it, but I was the whole they had me what I started getting over it then because I asked them, who's Toasty? How am I supposed to act? And they're like, oh, you're a drunk, like the drunk.
That yes,
And I was like, y'all are just really trying to
fucking me.
like, thank you, right? Like for what? So I was just kind of feel like you just keep people keep poking at you, keep poking up at you, poking at you. You get tired of it. I was ready to go home.
Okay,
I was like, at this point,
so Toasty, she was the girl, the really big drunk from the previous season.
she spit
Before
on
the
somebody.
huh?
Didn't she spit on somebody?
No, that was Pumpkin.
Oh,
That was the
oh.
season. That was the first season.
Whoever I was drunk, and I think they spit on. I don't know who they had me playing,
So
but that's what I was told.
no, so they basically so Toasty was that really drunken girl from the previous season two, and then yeah, she was like nonstop drinking. She got so fucking out of it. And I think on during her elimination, basically something to do with her being exposed for being a P star or a corn star, basically. I'm not saying.
Oh, oh,
Yeah.
yeah. See, I didn't know any of that, but I just kind of felt like at this point, I felt like they were kind of like out for me, Like I was ready to go home. I
Oh my
felt like
god.
it was yes.
Uh, do you think that Sincere was out of pocket? You can't turn a hoe into a housewife. Was Did you think that was like very out of pocket? Because this was the wedding challenge.
You know, that didn't bother me. Really, that didn't bother me because I mean, okay, you don't even know me. I've always been in long-term relationships, like okay, I've not never been a hoe out in these streets. So, like you don't know me, you can say all that. That didn't bother me. Like, what's that? I used to tell people when I was little, I had this bully that would mess with me, and I tell her, I'm rubber and you're glue. Whatever you say bounces off me and sticks to you. Like that's what I would say to myself,
Oh Lord.
you know? But like that didn't bother me. What bothered me was when she started talking about me as a mom. Like, and Flav just stood there and said, "Wow," and I wanted to mollywop him one good time, just for like not taking up for me. But I had, I had, I had it like at that point because I was like, I don't even want to. Like, what's the point of even? I don't even want you, bro. You know.
I was gonna just ask you, what were your thoughts on the whole, wedding challenge?
The wedding challenge, well, first of all, that was another thing. They tried to say that I was intoxicated. Not once on any episode was I intoxicated. And that was one of the things that really upset me with the editing when I aired it because they have a full bar, they've got full liquor, every kind of liquor you can imagine, free. You just got to go behind the bar and pour it, okay?
Yeah.
Nothing. It's open bar. But if I drink liquor and I'm around fighting and drama and people coming at me all kinds of sideways, if I'm drinking liquor, I'll fight. So I know that about myself, like, so I know that about myself. That's why I stay away from folks like that. And then that's why I had my wine. My wine, I actually paid for. So we would pay whatever we would pay for. I would keep that joker with me because if I put it in the fridge, someone's going to take it. One of these little trifling chicks are going to take it. They're going to take my wine. So they made it seem like I just kept my wine with me like all the time. And that was one of the things. So during the wedding, well, first of all, it wasn't me that kissed him. That was actually Black, but they clipped the footage, made it seem like I kissed him, and I didn't kiss him like on the lips. So they took a clip from Black, and that's what they put in all on the websites too. That was not me. That was Black kissing him, not me. But they had I belched during the interview, but it was because they gave us Pepsi and you had to drink it through a straw because the makeup artist had done our
Yeah.
makeup. So they would make you drink Pepsi through the straw. So I sip my Pepsi to get some, while I'm talking, I'm doing the interviews and burp, I belch. And same thing during that thing. So I just didn't feel like At that point, that was my final straw. Like when he didn't say nothing about and stick up for me, a man that wants to call himself my man has to stand up for me, you know, and he didn't. So I went back there. Like I said, I went to his room and I kind of like told him how I felt, uh, in ATL style, and they only showed like a clip of it. But basically, I told him like, this isn't about if Hotlanta's the one for you anymore, because you ain't the one for Hotlanta. I don't want you. I want a man that's gonna stand up for me, especially if a chick's calling me and speaking about me as a mom. Because I
Yeah.
don't play that about my kids. You should have told that chick my kids shouldn't be in her mouth, and you should have checked that chick because she's talking to you, not me. But all he could say was wow. So I was ready
Um,
to go.
I was gonna say what I was gonna ask you this, but you probably already answered this like for me already. I was gonna say like what made you have a change of heart towards Flav, and I think it's probably when you're just telling me that he didn't stick up for you when Sincere or some of the other girls were
You know,
talking.
he didn't take up for me, and you know what? Even afterwards, I didn't have any hard feelings for Flav. I think he thought I was mad at him because he came to Atlanta for a birthday. He had a birthday party in Atlanta,
Mm.
and I had a limo. I had all my people come. Like we came to show love, and for his birthday, he found out Atlanta was partying in the VIP section where he was going to be, and he had us all kicked out. He had me and my crew kicked out. We were like, why? I don't know why. I still don't know. But then after like a year or two after that, I reached out to him. I was like, Flav, I hope you're doing good. There was something that happened. And I just reached out to him and he responded back. He was like, Atlanta, yo, how's it going? You know, like he's cool. So I don't have no beef with Flav. You know, he's cool. He was cool with me. But yeah, and at the same time, you know, it's a show. He's there being told to do stuff just like a lot of people were.
Yeah. Oh my god. Did you expect, to tell Tree on what you said to her, like to tell Flav? Sorry, hold up. Let me rephrase my question. Um, oh my god, did you expect that Tree was gonna tell Flav on what you were like venting to her? Saying like this is not even his house. Like like he's too broke.
That was a lot of the editing too. So they were saying, "Oh, Hotlanta only wants to be with you because each of her kids could have a room in this house."
Yeah,
And I rebutted her claim because I was like, well, first of all, everything is in German. He didn't know where the bathroom was. Nobody knew where the bathroom was, including him. He didn't know which way to go. So it was obvious it wasn't his house. I wasn't saying it like trying to be like throw shade on Flav. It's a production property, but oh, you only want him so each of your kids can have a room. Like, chick, this ain't even his. Like, and it wasn't. I wouldn't tell no lies, like it wasn't. But he took it like, oh, Hotlanta said, this, and she said that you're broke. I didn't say Flav was broke. I said Flav ain't got got money like that because he's got a whole bunch of kids he needs to support before he thinks about supporting a woman.
hmm,
That's just him being a man.
yeah,
If you got 8, 10, 15 kids, and I get with you as a woman, and your kids are all minors, that means you got to support 8, 10, 15 kids before you can think about supporting me. A man's children, a woman's children come first,
yeah.
especially prior to the relationship. And so that's how I looked at it. Oh, Flav said, and then he pulled out his little one, talking about, I ain't broke, Hotlanta. Didn't nobody say you was broke,
I
Flav?
think I think
But
it's probably the producers were. I think the producers were basically like telling him basically what Tree said. So that's
uh,
that's
they were
basically what
just
happened.
hating, like, I was just keeping it real. They try to make it seem like I was trying to, downplay Flav. I really wasn't. I was actually taking up for him in a way, like, mm-mm.
Yeah.
I ain't no digger. I'm a goal getter. I ain't digging for nothing. Like,
Did you expect the twins to get in your face after like after like all of them were downstairs and all that?
um, no, but I tell you what, if I wouldn't have signed signed my name on that paperwork, it would have been on the property. I wanted to let them know why I'm Hotlanta, but I didn't. And I was so proud of myself, but you can get on my face all you want to. Since you bad, throw a swing. I bet you ain't gonna throw first. Throw first, because when you throw first, it's on the property. And that's what I had told them on camera. They didn't show that. I was like, if you bad, throw one. Throw some hands since
Oh
you
my
bad.
god.
The minute you let go on these hands, you gonna get a fresh one. A fresh one. And they wouldn't. They were all bark, no bite. Come on, babe. Like,
Oh my
bark, 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 bark. That's how a lot of these chicks out here be, and they're not. I mean, they're no different than a bunch of females. I'm not one to resort to violence. I don't believe in violence as the conflict of a resolution, but at the same time, sometimes people got to be put in their place. And when they're right there in your face like that, like she would have spit on me, I would have went ham, but I didn't, and I was so proud of myself that I didn't.
no, because no, if she's spelling it, that actually would have been like an actual criminal like offense or
Yeah,
something. So
as soon as bodily fluid gets spit on you, you have a right to defend
yeah,
yourself.
but
But
also like
I'm glad it didn't get to that point. But at the same time, like I think they thought, oh, she's some white girl. Like they could just because they would make comments. Like I thought they felt like I was some weak chick, and I'm not. Like I'm someone certified in Atlanta, honey. We will take your cookies and some.
oh my god,
They just didn't know that about me. Like they just I think that they could really like try me, and a lot of times they did. I let them try me, but towards the end, I was ready. I was already ready to go home, and then I'm like, "You want to get in my face?" And instead of me using that, like letting my hands loose on them, I just went up and said what I had to say to Flav, and then he sent me home with my clock. So
I was gonna say like, were you satisfied when you're keeping it real during your elimination?
yeah, yeah. The only thing I wish I would have done differently about my elimination is afterwards they showed me crying, and people thought, oh, she's crying because she got eliminated, and I wasn't crying because I got eliminated. I was crying because I had so all that release. There was so much when you're around toxic and negative people, just always yapping and yapping and yapping and drama and drama and drama. You get all that inside of you. And it was just a relief that I was like, I'm going home to my babies. I did it. I survived. I stood in there. I stood in there as long as I could. But at the same time, I had to have integrity and respect. I'm not one to chase a man, especially not one that don't defend me. So
Yeah,
that at that point I was ready. And I felt like I had made it long enough.
no, that's good. At least you made it like further into like the whole season. That's a good thing, and that's why I was like much more gravitated towards you. I was like, yes, like you're definitely gonna be my favorite girl on this show,
Yeah.
and like I like so like basically my favorite girls from your guys' season. I did like you're definitely one of my favorites. Seasons is also one of them. I did like the twins, even though they were so much drama. I would say that, but like, hey, who doesn't like a little drama here and there watching it? Like it's
Right.
learned. Yeah, and even like oh my god, even though I did not like her at first, but then she kind of did grow on me. I did like Sincere a little bit. But it's just like at first I just did not like her because she was just like, oh my god, like girl, just shut up. Please get out of my screen right now.
Yeah. And I think that's what they want. Productions want a variety of personalities. They want a variety of forces, I guess, of different people and different backgrounds from different. I just have a hard time like um just being with the drama, I guess you could say.
um, so what are some of your favorite challenges?
Now,
Like during the time of your stay of in the house.
oh, in the house, the challenge was
No, I said what was your favorite? So what was your favorite?
my favorite challenge, um the freestyle battle that they never aired. That was my favorite one. That was really the only one that I can remember that I liked all of my challenges ended up I liked giving him the gift during that challenge, but I just wish it would have been like a dinner date, not skydiving date.
Yeah, no. Oh my god. No, because you killed that challenge, the hospital challenge one. No, you definitely killed it. But I just wish that they could have taken it somewhere different. I mean, I guess he was safe to be extreme.
Right.
Okay, so which challenge was your least favorite challenge?
Um, the food one that
Yeah, I can.
that was horrible.
Yeah, because
That was so horrible. Having to throw up, like no. And I mean, it'd probably be like throwing up was worse, but also like jumping out of the plane. That was more challenging to me because I had to do something that um, I wouldn't have normally done in real life. Like if it wasn't for Flav saying you got to go on that date with me, it's still my 10 toes would have been on the ground. You know?
I definitely would have been screaming out of fear if I jumped off that plane. I would be like screaming out of the fear. I'd be like, "Oh my god!" Oh my.
And two, it was like when I landed, I had a different appreciation for life because I was like, I touched down. Okay, I'm good. It's meant for me to still be here.
Oh my god! Oh my god! So, of course, we're gonna get into this next topic. Obviously, this is about the fucking drama and shit. If you do remember some of that shit. So
Okay.
how did it feel? So how did you feel about thing one and thing two? I was gonna ask you this from the previous topic. So how did you feel about thing one, thing two, like overhearing your phone conversation?
Um, I mean, it was just like it is what it is, you know. I mean, I'm in that position. I just think that they like should have gave me a chance to kind of explain. Um, but they were just nosy.
Did you feel like that you were intimidated by the new girls?
I wasn't intimidated by not one of them. Not one of them intimidated me.
Oh my
Mm-mm.
god. Which girl creased you the most? Which girl creased you the most?
What does the
Like
most?
which girl creased you the most? Like me, like got you like the most mad? Like you just permanently like dislike them?
Um, it was probably. I wouldn't say that she got me the most mad. I feel like my spirit clashed the most with her would probably be Sincere. Like my spirit didn't settle right with just being in her presence, you know, at that time. But that and yeah, pretty much that was pretty much it. I didn't really have no problems with nobody. I just didn't understand why everybody had problems with me because I ain't did nothing to nobody.
Girl, I was like, you're not the only one that. You were not the only one that was getting targeted. You were like Buns was getting targeted. Obviously, you were getting targeted. Seasons was getting targeted
Yeah.
by.
Yeah, we were all getting it, but I just felt like, man, when you live it, it's totally different. I'm like, y'all done poked me, made me jump out of this plane and eat up some BS, and I was ready. Yeah, it was an experience, though. I mean, I can't sit there and be like, you know, I mean, I look back now and I was like, it was an experience, you know, that I'm grateful that I got to experience.
That's good at least. So are you still friends with some of the girls still?
Ice is on my social media with some little messages every once in a while. Buns, that's my homie. She needs to come to Atlanta, and I need to go to Texas. But yeah, pretty much Buns. Everybody else, no, I don't even think I'm friends with them on social media.
I thought you would be like much more close with Seasons because like because I did see some conversations between you and her.
Yeah, no, I changed my mind.
About her, but I changed my mind about her. Oh my god!
Like, you know, it is what it is.
Congratulations.
I every single one of them, I hope that they are doing great in life. I have no hard feelings. I hope everybody that, people change. You talk about 10 plus years ago, but, almost, I guess, how long has it been? I don't even know. It's been a
Yeah.
long time since, then. So I hope everybody's just had growth and prosperity since then, because, the whole experience of being on TV and going through that, it's not, I know for me, speaking just for me, it took I wasn't prepared for the aftermath. And, if you got people that aren't as strong, sometimes I can take them in wrong routes, down wrong paths and stuff. So I hope all of them are doing well. And, I wish them all the best.
No, that's actually really sweet for you to say, and like because that's the same thing with my hairs too. Because I just hope maybe like they do be doing good and like in their own lives, but just don't involve me in it. AKA like don't run your mouth about me.
Well, and two, when a lot of, and it's not just like with the show that I was on, but a lot of the females they get into the industry. See, with me, I had already been in the industry prior,
Yeah,
so I know how the industry is, prior to stepping in. But when you get people that they've been to LA, they got this, that's, and they don't realize what they're really getting into. They don't really realize what the industry is about, and it's a dirty game. It's a really shady game that they will chew you up and spit you out if you don't know what to look out for. And I've seen it with a lot of the reality TV stars. I even dealt with it like when people with bookings and stuff like that. At first, everybody's like, oh, they think they can book Hotlanta and it's going to be a freak show. And they're like, they learned quick, like, Hotlanta, just because you're a Flavor of Love girl don't mean Hollanda's not the one. She's not about that. But you get a lot of them that not just like say Flavor of Love, but other reality shows, whether it's that station, that channel, or other channels. You got a lot that will do anything for money, and they feel like because they're getting paid money that they need to be doing something, and they don't understand. No, you get paid for showing your face at this point. They don't get that, and a lot of times, um, and like I said, the fame and the stuff that came afterwards and comes, it doesn't go away. Like for me, it's not gone away. It will never go away for me. But that's okay. I had to learn how to make adjustments in my life, and um, that was a challenge in itself.
yeah. But also, did you hear about what happened with the whole love show like empire going crumbling down?
What was it?
Did you like know about why the VH1 like dating shows were you know they were like done now?
Um, I know. Well, I know with our season, it was a 3 season
Mhm.
contract. So I know with that, and they did 3 seasons with the other shows. But I know there was I want to say it was an alliing between. I I actually I love true crime. I will sit and watch true crime
Mhm.
documentaries all the time, and I came across that, and I was like, wow. And then it made sense to me as far as why a lot of the stuff changed, you know.
With the whole reality thing. So here's the thing. So this is what I'm gonna say. So the only reason why I asked you if you knew about why like the VH1 like empire like like basically like died down. So I did mention like Lacey and shit, because she was on Isle of Money. She was on the unaired season of it, the one with one of Megan Wants a Millionaire's guys. So apparently he won the show. He comes home after he wins the show. He basically unalives his wife, then goes to Canada, like because he was like on the run
On the
from the cops, and then he basically unalived himself at a motel in Canada. So
wow.
I kind of wish that the of love shows was still going on till this day, because like that was like a huge era, and of course like but it had to die down due to like basically production, not giving like a full thorough background check on some of these people.
Yeah.
So Yeah, because like a lot of like jobs were fucked up because I think I heard like Prancer was gonna have her own show with this girl named Callie from Real Chance of Love the first season, and then like but it never managed to go through due to about what happened with the whole murder situation in 2009
Yeah.
10. So
I went after filming. I went through like the media and stuff like that. I got arrested, and the media took all my stuff and flipped it around. I had my actually my I will say I have a loved one that was being um I have a loved one that was being assaulted, and I defended um I defended them, and I wasn't questioned before I was arrested. I was just arrested. And the best way to describe it, can you bring me the charger? Thank you. But I got arrested, and the media took my arrest. So my loved one was being held in a headlock, and I turned into Waterboy, and I Bobby Boucher'd them for putting their hands on my loved one. And two of my children witnessed the incident. So I got charged with 2 counts of cruelty to children in the third degree, and 2 counts of simple battery with harm. I ripped a shirt. Well, I stomped one, and then the other one said I kicked her thumb. But like I said, my family was being assaulted, and it was self-defense. But I didn't get a chance. I was guilty until proven innocent. It took 2 years almost for the stuff to come down legally in court, and my charges were dropped. Everything was legally expunged off my record. But the media took that arrest and made it seem like I had done something to children, because people didn't know. They didn't know, like in Georgia, cruelty to children in the third degree just means a child can witness something. Doesn't, but you hear that, and people think third degree burns, like they think that's something bad. Like in some cases, it is a bad thing, but in my situation, there was no child harmed. There was nothing was done to a child. They just witnessed me defending my family member. And so it's not long enough. I need the extension thing. Thank you, babe. But so they didn't media got a hold of it, and next thing I know, I'm on TMZ. I'm on every media outlet, and they're like, Hotlanta's an abuser and child abuser and all this different stuff. I mean, it was horrible. My mugshot's like on TMZ, like, what the heck? And when I went through that, it was like, you don't prepare yourself for the fame
yeah,
from becoming famous overnight. But I didn't prepare myself for false accusations to cause people to be cruel to me in real life. It's one thing if they're being cruel and they're doing it for ratings, but you had people talking about me as my mom, somebody needs to take her children from her, saying all this stuff. And that's how the industry's set up, though. When they can't get you to sign and be a part of them, and you want to do stuff independently, they try to defame you. They try to destroy your character.
yeah,
It's like, so I went through that, and that's something that if I wouldn't have the strength and mindset that I have, other reality TV, people from TV, people, that have, they don't necessarily, I've seen them do stuff like unalive themselves or resort to other things to kind of like help them cope with things. So it was really, I saw the dirty part of fame. I saw the ugly, the good, bad, and ugly,
yeah.
from it. They made $250,000 off my mugshot because of 2 websites.
That's
Quarter of
insane.
$1 million.
That's insane.
Yeah, overnight.
So,
I moved good. They were outside my house, sitting outside with cameras, trying to take pictures of me and my kids, stalking my apartment, all kinds of stuff that I lived in at the time. So I packed my kids up and moved to the hood. And I said, if TMZ comes here, they ain't come. They ain't leaving with their cameras.
true. Period, though.
They don't want to come down to this block. Helena's got the block on lock.
Oh my God. So we're gonna get into this last question and then we're gonna end up cutting this now. So
Okay.
what are you doing now in life?
What am I doing now? Like I said, I just partnered with a guy who I actually started when he was doing his first, this was several years ago. He was first starting his little podcast, doing stuff independently. He brought me on as a guest, and now he's got a very flourishing company. So I'm working with him. I've partnered with him. So that's in the mix, trying to get the contracts and stuff finalized. And then I'm working on doing my own content. I am so old school. Like I grew up on pagers and I don't understand how to make even TikToks. And I've started, I'm in the process of doing a couple things. I've got a little small farm and working to set up like therapeutical services for people, for children and using animals and livestock for therapy. Just trying to become self-sufficient the best I can. And that's pretty much it. Raising my kids. I'm a grandmother. I've got 3 grandchildren and
Oh,
um, just working. And I do myofunctional therapy also. So I'm a myofunctional therapist. So just keeping it moving and staying, doing things independently. I still do stuff in the industry. I just kind of like do things differently now than what I used to do. Um, the industry is not what it used to be. And the longer I was in the industry, the more I learned the truth about the industry, which a lot of people are getting like bits and pieces of how it is. So I'm just working on independent projects. I was writing a documentary, and then we went to do the film production, and there was some conflict in the those contracts. So I want to do now. I think I'm just going to take what I the writings and do like an audio book for people, and do the written book until I can find the right team. That can actually meet the needs that I have for the production and be able to capture the vision instead of wanting to turn it into their own or let people pay them to tell them what my content is.
that's pretty
So,
good. Well, thank you so much, Hotlanta, for even,
yeah,
taking the time
thank
of
you
the
for having
day,
me.
for ever like taking the time of the day to, to go on live with me. This is episode 5 of Let's Talk Reality. And I had so much fun actually talking to you and like,
Yes,
knowing.
anytime soon.
So if you ever are in Portland, girl, I wouldn't mind getting a couple of drinks. So, but yeah, I will keep in touch soon. Bye.
Bye, sweetie. Talk to you later.
Bye.